Hello, my name is David Ortega and I'm the Director of Parent Services and Communications. Cal Parents is here for all parents and all family members. We are your central resource for information, engagement, volunteer, and philanthropic opportunities as well. Please visit our Facebook page, our website at calparents.berkeley.edu. We are so excited to have Chancellor Carol Christ with us on our first Facebook Live of the season. This is fantastic. We are very excited. So thanks to the many of you who have sent in your questions, thoughtful questions, and we are really looking forward to the Chancellor answering those right now. So without further delay, it is my honor to welcome Chancellor Carol Christ.
Good evening. I'm Carol Christ. I'm the Chancellor of UC Berkeley, and I first want to thank you for trusting your sons and daughters to us. As a parent myself, I know how important a responsibility that is for us at Berkeley. I want to begin by answering the questions that you've asked. And let's begin with the issue of the day, which is free speech. Let me read the first question. I appreciate the difficult decisions you have to make balancing free speech versus other considerations on the Berkeley campus. Can you please walk us through your reasoning and why you feel it's worth it to incur all the expense, faculty antagonism, and academic disruption to host far-right speakers on campus? Can't the expense of hosting these events be borne by those hosting the event? First, let me say that as a public institution, we have the obligation to host speakers without discrimination in regard to the content of their views. So when a student organization invites a speaker, whether it's the BCR, the Berkeley College Republicans, or the Berkeley Patriot, two of our conservative student organizations that have invited conservative speakers, we are under a legal obligation to host that speaker. But it's not merely an obligation that we're under. I believe that we should have a robust exchange of views on the Berkeley campus, that we should host speakers from across the political spectrum. We also have the obligation to keep our campus community safe and secure, so we are investing in security to achieve that goal. The student group is responsible for security expenses inside the hall, but any security arrangements that we think are necessary outside the hall are the campus's obligations. Very luckily, the Office of the President has agreed to share those expenses with us. So they are paying 50% of those expenses, which is a really great benefit to the campus. Second question on free speech. I've read reports that UC Berkeley spent approximately $600,000 on security for the Ben Shapiro speaking event. If this amount is accurate, do you anticipate similar costs for future speaking events? Will the city, county, or state be paying any portion of the costs? I'm concerned about how the costs will impact future tuition and fees charged by the university. I already began to address this question in my last answer. Yes, indeed, these are expensive events. Free speech isn't free, unfortunately. But it is my hope as we show that we can host such events that we will have fewer concerns about security. As I said, the Office of the President, the system-wide office of the University of California, is sharing 50% of the costs of security for these events. But we're aware that this is not sustainable in the long run. And so we intend, after Free Speech Week is over, I will be convening a commission or a task force to think about all of our policies in relationship to the invitation of speakers to campus. Another question about free speech. Our daughter has different political viewpoints than most of her professors. She tells us that she cannot vocalize her personal views during times of class discussion. for fear of retribution and academic retaliation, not only from her professors, but from other students. What can you as Chancellor and Berkeley as an institution do to ensure and encourage freedom of speech and divergent thinking, not only on the campus but in the classroom? I intend to address this issue by hosting, sponsoring many events about free speech in the course of the year, ones that are designed to bring people of different points of view, often sharply divergent points of view, together for civil conversation. What we need to do is model these conversations for our community, and also through the kind of power of the pulpit that the Chancellor has, to make sure that everyone in the community knows that we value all points of view and we value diversity of all sorts on campus. So now some questions about housing. My daughter is currently a freshman at Cal. I'm very concerned that she will have to live far from campus in the upcoming years. As on campus, housing is very limited, and housing that's close to the school is very expensive. What are immediate plans for increasing the number of available housing for undergraduates at Cal? This is one of my highest priorities, addressing the issue of housing capacity at Berkeley. We house the lowest percentage of our undergraduate students of any campus in the UC system, only 22%. Expanding the capacity of our housing system is one of my highest priorities. We have a special task force that is charged with this semester developing a comprehensive plan for building on all of our land on which we can build student housing. Before that, we will be negotiating master leases with private developers. We expect to add 800 beds to our housing system by the beginning of next fall. That's the new housing dormitory on Bancroft Way, and about 1,200 beds through agreements, long-term master leases with private developers by fall 2 years from now. So this is top of mind for me. I think it's an acute challenge for the campus. Budget. Cal has been running on a financial deficit for several years. How do you plan to reverse this trend, and how long will it take for Cal to achieve break even? I'm really pleased to say that we're making excellent progress in reducing our budget deficit. In June of 2016, we had a operating deficit of $150 million. We ended the last fiscal year, June 2017, with a deficit of $110 million, and we are on course to reduce that deficit to $56 million by June of 2018. We are expected to have a balanced budget, and we indeed expect to have a balanced budget by June of 2020. So that we're reversing this trend by efficiencies in expenditure, but also by the generation of new revenues that are helping us develop a new and more sustainable financial model for the campus. Academics. With the increase in students being admitted to Berkeley, what's being done to ensure that current students are able to enroll in the courses they need for prerequisites and ultimately for graduation? This is one of my highest priorities as Chancellor. Our students deserve to have the classes available to them that they need for their majors and for their graduation. So we keep increasing the amount of money that we're committing to what we call temporary academic staffing. Those are graduate student instructors, lecturers, visiting professors that we need to staff the number of courses necessary for our students. So we're working our hardest to do this and to ensure that students have access to the courses that they need. Safety. Thank you for reaching out to parents. As a parent, my daughter's safety is my #1 concern. What actions are being taken to protect students against violent crimes in the UC Berkeley neighborhood? The two most important programs that we have available to protect students against crime are a bus system that operates after dark to take students from any place on campus to either their dormitories or their apartments, and then also a walk escort service that starts to operate at dusk. So any student can have a safe escort to his or her place of residence. We also have a wonderful campus police department whose number one priority is keeping our students safe. Safety. What measures are being taken to prevent sexual assault on and near campus? We work very hard with our students to teach them how to keep themselves safe. That involves counseling about alcohol use and abuse, and also about saying no, and also about responsible sexual behavior. In addition, our police are very ready to protect our students, to come when called by the emergency number, and we're increasing the efficiency and speed of our complaint procedures for sexual violence and sexual harassment. How do you engage with students who need support during these times at Berkeley? We have sent several messages out to campus to inform students about the support that's available to them. And indeed, we've created special both places and times when some of the support staff from our Tang Center are available to talk with students who are feeling stressed and anxious and threatened by the current free speech events on campus. Can you outline all of your priorities for the year? Yes, I definitely can. I have 5 main priorities for the year. The first is rebuilding community. The last several years have been difficult ones for the campus with our budget challenges, with the cases of sexual harassment, with the controversy about free speech. So I am taking lots of steps to rebuild community through events that make people feel welcome and valued in this community. My second priority is to increase the quality of the undergraduate experience. Prime element of that is, as I said before, to increase the capacity of our housing system. Third is to increase diversity of the campus in all of its major population groups, undergraduate students, graduate students, staff, and faculty. My fourth priority is to invest in the research areas that will keep Berkeley faculty doing the research that's most important for the future of our race and our planet. And my fifth priority is to create a new financial model for the campus. Why did you decide to come back to Berkeley? Well, I decided to come back to Berkeley to retire after I finished being president of Smith. And then I was asked to become the head of the Center for Studies in Higher Education at Berkeley. That was a wonderful job. I'm deeply interested in higher education. Then the provost resigned rather suddenly, and so I was asked to become the interim provost, and after that I was asked to become the chancellor. I have a very deep love for Berkeley. It has made me who I am. I'm at the time in my life when I'm giving back, and this seemed a good time to give back by using my knowledge and wisdom to help Berkeley address some of the challenges that it's facing. What are some of the events that the campus will initiate for Free Speech Week? Well, Free Speech Week is actually just 4 days, and those are the 4 days that the Milo organization is purportedly putting on campus. But I have planned a number of events during the year to enable the campus to engage deeply with the issue of free speech. One of the things that's the more I've thought about free speech, as I have deeply in the past weeks and even months, is how complex it is. Our Constitution guarantees certain protections for free speech. In fact, the greatest protections for free speech of any liberal democracy in the Western world. But those protections, as they've been reinforced by case law, often conflict with values we hold as a community, values of tolerance, values of inclusion, values of diversity. And so I'm trying to provide many occasions for the campus to think about those tensions. We had a faculty panel on free speech in which I invited faculty who approached the issue from very different perspectives to speak. I moderated the panel. I myself gave a speech on free speech a few weeks ago. We have a day-long conference planned on October 5th, sponsored jointly by a student organization called Bridge USA, which is attempting to create dialogue between liberal and conservative students, and the Center for New Media. PEN, which is an international writers organization, is sponsoring a closed meeting all-day retreat for about 60 people on campus on October 23rd to think deeply about free speech. And I'm currently planning a series called Point Counterpoint, in which I'm inviting people of sharply different views to come and talk with one another about those views. So there are lots of events being planned, and lots of, I just had open hours for students this afternoon in the library, and got some suggestions from students about events that they would like to see. How would you like parents to engage with you in the campus? I would love you to write me emails about questions that you have. I really invite you to engage with the parents' organization. Your engagement is so helpful to us. You have such important feedback for us about your daughters and sons' experiences, and you can be enormously helpful to us as volunteers. So send me your emails and engage yourself with the parents' organization. What is your day-to-day like? Very busy. Let me just tell you about today. It started at 7:45 this morning with a breakfast with some donors to the campus. Then I met with a group from our Faculty Academic Senate. Then I had a meeting with the head of the Lawrence Berkeley Lab, then a meeting with a delegation from a German university with whom we have a partnership. Then I went to the 25th anniversary of Alianza, our Chicano Latino staff organization. Then I had a meeting with the head of the library, then open hours at the library for students, then a reception for African students on MasterCard Foundation scholarships, now this chat, and then I'm going off to another donor dinner tonight. Every day is packed with a huge variety of events, and many of them just absolutely wonderful and energizing. What do you enjoy most about being the chancellor at Berkeley? It's meeting the students. It was so extraordinary to meet the students who came to my open hours today. It's extraordinary to meet these students from Africa coming to do either undergraduate or graduate degrees at Berkeley. Berkeley is about the students. It is about your sons and daughters. So let me end where I began, by thanking you for trusting your sons and daughters to us. Thank you.